All right. Welcome back. Another episode, the C-Suite Unfiltered with my candies, and we are jumping straight in today. All right. Now, you have been doing some workshops, if you will. You did what's called the Seven Figure Club with Augusta, which was a great workshop, great event. I had the honor of being there and getting to speak as well. And then you also just recently did a co-pilot workshop, and that was for the Spring Rush Rally, I believe, basically top performing locations inside of co-pilot businesses, not necessarily related to Augusta, just co-pilot users. There were a couple of Augusta owners invited because they had won in respective categories, but about a dozen different businesses there for that workshop. And in those workshops, you have been giving them feedback and tools and resources to better create system structures, whatever it may be, progress in their business. And one thing that you've been doing is you've been giving them their first domino. And that's where you have said they must do this thing and then post about it. So owners in Augusta have seen folks from the Seven Figure Club post their first domino falling, and folks in the co-pilot group will start to see these owners from the workshop posting their first domino falling. So I know I'm getting long-winded here, but what is a first domino for people not privy to these workshops, people that haven't had the privilege? What is this first domino that you speak of?
Well, first we need to address the fact you're operating from a new desk location. So
Yeah, well, yeah, I've always made the joke that I'm homeless at Augusta, and it still holds true that I just randomly got moved. But I'll be back. Don't worry, I'll be back.
Oh man. Man without a home. Okay, so in terms of the domino, yeah, it's just basic. It's like your first domino. If you get the first domino to fall, the other things fall into place. So usually when someone comes to a workshop, they have like all these notes and things they want to get done. It's like, hey, what's the first thing that you're gonna do? So you get momentum and then get everything else done afterward. After that.
Yeah. So, and obviously the analogy is very simple, but I think about it from, like, is that a Mike Andes original? Did you see that somewhere else? Was it something that you were like, okay, I've been a part of workshops, or I've seen workshops, or I have, seen online courses where they overload you with information, and you kind of get that analysis paralysis where now I have too much information, so I'm not sure what is the first thing to do. So the kind of a two-part question. One is this a Mike Andes original? And if so, like, where did you come up with it, or how did you create this oversimplified but very helpful tool or framework?
Yeah, I don't know if yes, it's a Mike Gandy's original. I also did not come up with the idea that if you click a domino over it, everything else kind of cascades after that. But yeah, the objective, like when most people consume content, they are mentally stimulated, and then nothing really happens, and
Mm,
it's just kind of mental masturbation, as they
yeah.
say. And so it's just like it's just kind of stupid. So my thing is like if someone comes to a workshop, I know if they can just change one thing in their life, usually it'll have a huge impact. So something like time blocking, or if you change your processes around sales, or your conversion cycle, or whatever it is, um, if one thing is done right and it has a huge impact on the business, they'll attribute the value of all of those good things to the workshop. And so usually everyone's like one change away from like a 20 to 30% lift in their business. And so if I can somehow try to attribute that to the value of the workshop, then we will win. Um, and then also I know that the other things that they wrote down, the likelihood of them happening is greater once they have an early win, versus be like, yes, over the next year I will do X, Y, and Z, versus be like, in the next 2 weeks I'm going to do time blocking, or in the next 2 weeks I'm going to get my revocable living trust set up. Like smaller wins. And so, yeah, it kind of hinges on like the idea of the 6 week sprints in general. It's like, what are the main three things you're working on the next 6 weeks? I take that down like, okay, next 2 weeks. So one third of that. What's the one thing you're going to do?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of I see it also. There's some parallels to, right, Dave Ramsey's like debt snowball, right? It's like we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. We're not going to think about anything else. So how does someone? And I know that's like I'm trying to bring together 8-hour workshops and just kind of pick pieces out of them for general education. But how does one kind of determine what their first domino is? Say that they haven't been a part of your workshop, but they're like, okay, my business is in shambles. I have all these problems. I have all these issues. Like, how do you determine that first domino?
I think it's different for everyone. I think a lot of times it's like a big unlock like mentally for them. And so again, like I'm just trying to take how do I take mental unlock to like physical doing, and like getting stuff done. And so I think so many times people have unlocks mentally in like workshops or reading a book or getting content, and then nothing actually changes. They're like, oh man, like for example, with Money Models just coming out, people are gonna be like so mentally stimulated with these offers they're gonna make and like cool things, but they're never gonna test them. They're never gonna try them out. They're never gonna see that 9 out of 10 of them might not work for their industry or for what they're doing, but one of them crushes. So it's like, are you willing to actually go get those reps? But most people will do one, they'll do it halfway, they'll kind of like, man, and they're like, oh yeah, it was a great book, it was a great book, but they'll never actually execute on stuff.
Yeah.
And so my objective is like, if you can just change one thing after this workshop and you've flown out here and like you spent $1,000, but that one thing could potentially give you a 20-30% lift or make you more efficient, etc., it's well worth it if you
Mhm.
do something. If you do nothing, it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would make the argument that it's almost necessary reduction or oversimplification, because there are so many facets to a business, to whatever decision you're making, that you need that necessary reduction to one simple task. And I also think you can make the case that that's what top athletes do. A top runner, a top golfer doesn't change their whole form in one training session. They change, one movement with their hands, right? If they're a golfer, they're going to change the angle of their wrist for one day and just try it differently, instead of let me change my wrist and my hand placement and my grip strength and my stance and my knee bend. It's like, we're going to change the wrist and we're going to try that for one day. And if that works, then we can change the grip. Then we can change the knees. Right? And so is that kind of the same way you're thinking, is that if I can just do this one thing, get that taken care of, then one, it might fix other things, right? It might cause that domino effect. And two, you're not getting distracted and wasting time. And you can know, was that the 1 out of 10 thing that actually is going to work? Or was that a 9 out of 10, but you didn't know it was one of those 9 out of 10 things that didn't work because you were too distracted by a bunch of other stuff?
Yeah, and if there's 100 other things that need to get done, like the golden BB situation, then it's a function of I need them to believe me that those things will work. So I just need an early win. So the first domino is like yes for them, but it's also for me to gain credibility that like yes, that early win was effective and it was helpful and you saved yourself 4 hours a week. Great. You should probably go do this other thing too
Yeah.
that I mentioned. So it's you're trying to gain credibility too. And I think when it comes to coaching, it's very easy to chunk up things and be like, you need to implement pay for performance or you need to know your numbers. It's like, okay, like let's realize that could take 6 to 12 months for someone and tens
Mhm.
of thousands of dollars and like a lot of time. So I'm trying to get a win within 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's going back to Dave Ramsey, right? That's why the first phase of the debt snowball is pay off your smallest debt. He says, don't even look at interest rates, which, like, weirdly, you think about it, you're like, that seems like poor financial advice. But it's more so the psychological element of you now can check one box, right? It's kind of like the times that, hand up, I've done this, where you like add something to your to-do list that's like really easy. And like you knew you were going to do it anyways, but you just put it on the to-do list to check it. Like I've done that, right? Where you're like, I need to send that email, put it on the checklist. And like 30 minutes later, you send it. You can be like, good, I did it. So I think there's a psychological element too of having frameworks like that. And one thing that you also touched on that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit on today's pod was the emphasis on coaching and staying like very focused with coaching. So one thing, this is me just kind of ad-libbing, me just sharing. I don't even know if there's a question at the end of this. And that is, I brought someone on to help with sales here for Augusta, and go on YouTube and search sales advice, how to scale a sales team, how to whatever. You are going to get literally millions of opinions of what their comp plan should look like, what the script should look like, what the call process should look like, what the follow-up process should look like. And it was very easy for me when trying to bring this person on, Eric, who's a great guy, is to be overwhelmed. It's very easy to be overwhelmed. And what I decided to do is I just said, I'm going to cut out all the noise. I actually haven't watched any recent Alex Hormozi content because I don't want to get like a new idea for sales because he talks about it so much. I have strictly focused on my coach's content because he's built sales teams before for multi-million-dollar companies and then getting feedback from you. Those are my two feedback loops right now. It is my coach, who has done this before many, many, many times and it's proven track record of success, and then basically verification from you, having done sales and the leader of the org, and that's it. And I haven't taken any outside input into my kind of sales process. What are your thoughts on that? Is it that kind of like similar to like first domino, like just staying focused on like one school of thought, one way of doing it, and then tweak down the road once it's set up?
Yeah, like, I think there's a good balance of having outside industry perspectives. And then there's also a huge knowledge gap that can be breached if someone just has all the knowledge you have already baked in. So, for example, when you have that's why like individual coaching is so valuable, even better than someone like an Alex, because like if that individual coach knows all of the systems you're running, they know all of your pricing, they know your industry like the back of their hand, they're gonna like fill in all these gaps that like Alex would just chunk up to. And it's not to say that what Alex is saying is wrong. It's just a function of like he would say something and then the blocking and tackling needs to be filled in by like someone who's like, okay, so what type of mower should I get? Okay, like so what does that mean in terms of like do I rent a shop space or do I have them take the trucks home? Do I do tracking of the trucks? Like there's all those little gaps that someone in the industry can fill in. And so I think there's a good balance of both because like, you need someone to kind of break your frame sometimes that's outside the industry, and then you want someone that can actually like once they tell you something, they can actually fill in all the holes of like how to execute on this because they know the industry. So I think there's a good balance of both.
Yeah, yeah. So just kind of some musings there. Thought we'd discuss that, the first domino and everything. And you alluded to it. I didn't want to lead the pod with this because I don't want the pod to just be we quote Alex Hormozi, we reference Hormozi, and we just talk about what he's doing. But I feel like it is newsworthy, right? He did break a world record. He launched $100 million money models over the weekend. What are your initial reactions to that launch? I know you purchased the book, but yeah, walk me through kind of your perspective on maybe did you watch some of it, watch all of it, and Mike's initial reactions to the $100 million money models launch.
Yeah, it was great. I can now promote my my book. I was waiting off until he was done. I didn't want to take any of his thunder. So, um, you know, it was great. I emailed Dr. Kashi on Sunday, and so yeah, they was 3 days of intensity for them, and he was very
Mm-hmm.
involved. So, um, yeah, it was inspiring. I know all the some of the back end stuff of how long they were working on it and like stuff that they were doing. And so like it was not like he showed up on a weekend and made $100 million. It was
Yeah.
it was like 2 years of just investing and putting a lot of time and thought into every little thing. And there's nothing in that show that was like live. We just figured this out. Every single thing was planned. Every single thing. So like I know like things like for example like what questions are being slid in, the fact that he said certain things multiple times. I used to think back in the day I would have been like, wow, this is a live show. He's doing great. And now I know every single thing that was planned.
It
So
was
just know,
live, but it was scripted.
oh well, yeah, like script, like everything is accounted for. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there was no like oh like we broke the world record. No, they had the world record people there ready to go.
yeah.
So like it's very planned. It's very intentional. They ran the math on this, and so that's the part that I enjoy seeing because like I used to be much more like let's see how it goes, and then, like Dr. Cash like no, you don't leave degrees of error. Like you don't allow this to happen, and so anyways, yeah, it was fantastic. And for anyone that is, you know, hating on Alex over him making $100 million off of this book, just the launch, I should say, let alone the
Yeah.
ongoing royalty side of things, anyone that's hating on him, they deserve to stay poor. And they will stay poor, and they should probably read the book, because like if you look at the book, it is just everything he did in the launch. It's all it is,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic. Like whether it be scarcity offers and
Yeah.
downsell upsells, and everything he did in the launch is essentially the book. And so yeah, I think it was great.
Yeah. What do you think? Now that was kind of you with like your business hat on, your fan of Alex hat on, but like walk me through the thought process of was it to just broaden the audience? And I know it's like a super simple question, but I obviously saw him when he announced the book. I was like, yeah, I'll probably buy it. And you text us the day he announced it, like, hey, I already bought you a copy, pre-ordered. So thank you for that. But I was like, I'm a fan of his. So I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it. When it comes out, I'll buy it. Like I didn't care about the ad campaign or anything. Like obviously I'm watching it. I'm trying to learn from it, but like it didn't impact me. So was the ad campaign strictly to broaden the audience essentially?
Oh, I don't want to speak on behalf of Alex, but he
Yeah.
has said multiple times in different areas about why they do the book launch. So um, the YouTube is where most people hear about Alex.
Hmm.
And if you think about like a funnel, um, you know, it is a huge funnel of like, okay, do I hear him on YouTube? And then his next layer, like in this launch, is like he gives stuff away for free. So the course, um, free 90 days to school, like all the free stuff that he gives away. And then basically did a stack all the way up to tens of thousands of dollars for people that want to get more access. And so this is the premise of like what any successful content creator does, in my opinion, is like you create demand using your free stuff, you give away most of it, but then if people want access, because it's a finite resource that you have, which is time, then you start chunking that down towards being higher ticket. And so, um, yeah, like the really the objective of the book launch is actually not selling one book. Like you're gonna buy one book. Great job, Lee. Let's go.
Yeah.
There are people that the objective was to sell people on 200 books and then sell them on 800 books. That was
Yeah.
the objective.
Yeah.
And so you build all the value and all the goodwill and all that with the free stuff, and then you have those other offers. So um, yeah, it was like they make a ton of money on the book launch. Like most people don't make money on book launches. They make a ton of money on it, but they have to take also a ton of stuff in house. It's like the printing of the books, the distribution, the support, all of that. But the objective, like the key thing I took away from the entire thing is if you can create an offer where you can just break even on the launch, like if you can just break even on that, but then you get all this attention because he spent $4 million and made 6 million. Also, by the way, he still has to go print the books. So like he probably breaks even on the ad spend. And so even like when we've been doing this stuff with Augusta and like people were probably seeing the ads a bunch, it's like, look, if I could just break even on the initial fee, knowing that I probably won't see another dollar for another year potentially, but like that starts to stack. Like
Hmm.
if we can make that quote money model, where we put money in 10 grand and we get 24 grand out, and then cost of training, et cetera, we can just break even on the initial. Now you have a model that can scale very quickly. So yeah, it's like that was very interesting to me too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think that, there's layers to it. So obviously I'm being like oversimplification of how this actually works and selling the access. That kind of brings me to a completely different point is that you've kind of briefly mentioned, and we can cut this if you want, that you've also thought that you could sell access in the future, especially to people that are interested in learning how to franchise or build brands like you have. Is that something that you're thinking about doing in the near future? Is that like is that just a pipe dream? Is that hey, I've thought about this? Like, what's your thought process on you selling access? Because that is a question we get, right? We had a call booked yesterday, an Augusta intro call that was like, oh, we're looking to talk to Mike because we're looking at like M&As, and we wanted to talk to him and get his advice and this, that, and the other. Kind of interested in Augusta, not really. They want access to you. They want access to your brand, how you do things. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I've always said a no to a lot of those sort of things, like franchise podcasts, etc. I think that my mind has changed on a little bit because I see so many bad actors in franchising. I do think we can kind of use our growth story as a way to hopefully change that kind of narrative and hopefully change like new franchisors of how they treat their owners. Um, and so I'm such a believer in franchising, so I'd like to be able to kind of change the narrative a little bit. Um, Especially because once equity gets involved, like their franchisees just start to get completely obliterated. Like it's horrible. It's not good. So um, I'm concerned about the fact that even the good franchisors are being wiped out by private equity, and then they just get sapped with fees, and it just gets bad. So I would like to be able to do that. Nice thing about the people who are thinking about franchising, like franchising their concept. First off, the failure rate is so high for franchisors. It's insane. Like no one actually talks about this because everyone
Mm-hmm.
that is incentivized to keep that little gravy train going is the consultants and the lawyers. There's so much money in it. And like if you could just have everyone buy into this notion that if you just franchise your business, you'll get franchisees, and everything will just be gravy, like money in your pocket. If you can buy everyone to buy in that concept, they'll give you $100,000 for a couple weeks worth of work. That's the whole industry is built on that, and that's why like hundreds of franchisors start every year. It's because this thought process, and so all the people that are wanting to quote franchise have money. And my thought is, how do I take their money, make an impact on the franchise world, but then take that money and go do what I want to do with it, which is like investing back into Copilot and Augusta, etc. So I do think down the road, um, this may or may not tie into a Black Friday thing. Like I think some more access to me sharing that would be valuable. I don't think it would be valuable to 99% of my audience, but for the 1% that's like, the only reason I follow Mike, and this is what I'm starting to hear more and more, that I follow Mike to see what he's doing so that I can copy it. I'm like, okay, great. I'll
Mhm.
give you the roadmap. I'll save you hundreds of thousands of dollars and mistakes that I've made. And like, I will make sure that the way I tell you to do it is really positive for the owners, so that it's positive for franchising as a whole. And I will charge you gobs of money because you are price insensitive. And so this is what Alex did on the weekend. Is like there are people that paid like bought like thousands and thousands of books, and it's because they wanted to either access to his team or like whatever. And so my thought is I can take that money. I can then use it for things I really care about, and at the same time make a positive impact on like the franchising world. So we'll see. I don't know. Like I think if I started doing that from 200 locations to 1,000, that growth story would impact a lot of franchisors. And if we do that, I think franchising is the greatest form of community because you're tied in with brand, you're tied in with marketing, you're tied together with deals. You have so much buying power. Like we just gave all of the owners for what would actually cost. Like some of them were paying $499 a month, and they all got it for free.
Mhm.
And so by having buying power, like it's so valuable to small businesses. It's basically like, let's get the ability to purchase at the level of private equity and massive companies, but small businesses. Like it's super valuable.
Mhm.
But franchisors get greedy and it's just horrible. So anyways, I would love to change that narrative, and I think that the people that are going after that are very price insensitive because I know how much they pay to consultants, and I would obliterate consultants. Like as much as like I have learned like how not to do things, I can save people so much time, and I can just tell them what to do. Like here's how you set up a franchise advisory council. Here's when you use it. Here's how you set up your preferred vendors. Here's what your structure should be for fees. Here's how you sell this. Like it would just be like so good, and I could save them so much time and money, and I can charge 40 grand for the thing because they're getting charged 100 grand from some goofball that got out of law school and just knows how to market their franchise in a box situation. And I bought that stuff back in the day, and it's
Yeah, yeah,
useless, and we end up scrapping so much of it because they don't know what they're talking about. So
yeah. You're a little passionate about it, and I like it. I appreciate it, and I see it too. I think it's selling access is a is I don't know exactly how I want to label it, but it is a privilege in a way, right? Like if you know that if you can see the outsized return from the get, you are willing to put forward the capital to have the privilege of that access. I guess is what I'm saying. And like on a small scale analogy, my coach, very, very good for you to hear this. When I first signed up for his program, $300 a month was his program. It is now $750 a month. He has already over doubled his prices, a 150% increase, basically. And that's because it's working. The course is working. He's getting results. He's getting reviews from his students. He is creating a bigger brand around himself. And now he's 150% increase on his price. And anyone who joined previous is locked in. So, and we get more access. Like I get more access. I still have access to his calendar link, like his one-on-one calendar. He's like, anyone who's in the program previous, like you still get that. And so like there are more benefits. So like it's a privilege to have that access. And now other people are going to see like, oh, he's helping a lot of people. And I think I agree with you. There are so many, sales consultants out there. There's so many sales YouTube videos or people or classes or courses. And I was like, I just want access to a guy that's done what I'm trying to do. He's been a VP of sales for big companies, both private and public companies. I just want access to that. I don't care about all these people and all these gurus and all these consultants. I just want access to him because I know I can book a slot on his calendar and be like, I'm running into this wall. Help me. And he's like, oh yeah, do this, this, and this. Right. He told me the other day when I said, hey, I'm running into something. He was like, book a one-on-one with me, share your screen with me, and I'll tell you everything you're doing wrong. And it's just like happy to like do that because he's just going to cut through all the noise and just tell me how to do it right. And that's what you want. And that's what you're almost willing to offer. And I'm not saying that you have the right way to do it, but you have done it in a way that has created wins for you and wins for other people. And if people are willing to pay you gobs of money to get access to that, then that is a privilege.
agreed.
Yeah. So anyways, that was my my soliloquy there to end the day. All right, last quick topic, just because I wanted to ask about it, and I don't know how long of a discussion this will be, so it might be brief. We'll see. But this is something that I hadn't had a fully formed opinion on. I kind of just wrote a bunch of notes. But in one of the recent masterminds you had with Augusta, is that you had over 3,000 applications for some recent job postings inside of Copilot. And then I was thinking, well, why is labor such a hard thing to find right now in blue collar industries? And, the obvious default de facto answer is, well, nobody wants to work hard anymore. Okay, well, I don't know if that's the truth, but because you see people that are applying to these jobs in software and engineering, and I don't know what the job titles were, but you're getting 3,000 applications. Those people want to work. Maybe they don't want to physically work, but they want to work. That is showing we want to work. So do you think that software development, AI, with AI coming in, and I know we're talking about big bad AI, but do you think software development eventually becomes the new labor, right? The new blue collar labor down the road, where eventually it'll be hard for people to get software development jobs, or people don't want to do software development anymore because it's so, watered down by AI or replication through all these new systems that are being created?
I don't think so. I think it's like if you when you got an excavator, it's like yes, it'll put some people out of work that use shovels, and so either a you learn the skill of using the excavator or you lose your job. And so I think what's the same thing has happened with new technology now with AI is like the lower level engineers are getting wiped out. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's going, the money, the richer will get richer when it comes to engineering, because if you have the talent and the skill that is in the top 1%, you still have disproportionate leverage to use these tools to become even more efficient. And so this is why, like with Meta offering people hundreds of millions of dollars, it's like, engineering's still important.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
going to the top 1%, because everyone else will just get commoditized using AI. So the same way that like, so if you really are great at using a shovel, it's like great, you're not going to be able to beat the excavator. So either you learn the excavator and you learn how to use this to 10x, 100x, 1000x your productivity, or you're out. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're seeing a lot of the out right now, with white collar jobs being consolidated, the money going to the top. It's not like they're cutting their budgets for wages. It's just going to the top talent, and then
Mm-hmm.
everyone else is going to get cut. And so it's been actually super valuable for us over the past year with AI doing this, because it gives us a huge talent pool to come from. Now that being said, almost all of our team has come from internal referrals. So almost
Mm-hmm.
everyone like has like either worked at, I don't know if I should say the names, several companies, about
Yeah,
three to
yeah.
four different companies that most of our team has come from, just because they all know each other and like to refer, like, hey, you should come work here. And so it's just beneficial to us because the market has been such a dampening from a cost perspective, as we've been tripling, quadrupling, 10xing whatever our salaries and wages. It's like that money has gone so much further in the past year than it would have in like 2021. Just simply because of what's going on in the market. So yeah, it's really beneficial when you have 3,000 people applying for your job, because you have leverage and everyone wants to take the job and everyone's willing to do very complicated technical reviews and technical tests to get through. So yeah, it's been very beneficial for us, I think, and it's a window of time, I think, too. So by us being able to get this talent now, excuse me,
You're good.
by us getting the talent now, I think it's been kind of a window of opportunity for Copilot.
Gotcha. No, that's great. And yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking is like, does it come to a point where like, okay, people don't want to do entry level labor, blue collar labor, whatever it may be. Do they want to no longer do entry level software development or data collection or processing or whatever it may be? So it's just interesting to see that you're saying that like there are these layoffs at these larger corporations and they're just going to allocate their budget towards overcompensating the top tier talent and then potentially investment in those additional tools, right? And the tools that I don't know because I'm not in software development, but the excavator of software development, the tractor of farming, right? That was the whole thing when the tractor was invented. Like, oh, all farmers are going to lose their jobs. No, it actually increased their rate of production. It was actually a good thing for farmers. Yes, maybe some entry level laborers that could only use a shovel or a plow or a rake did lose their jobs, or they could learn how to use the tractor or do maintenance on the tractor. So it's just like the natural evolution is kind of what it sounds like. Where do those junior software developers, for lack of a better term, go? Do they go to a new startup that just needs basic level help? Do they have to level up their skills? Like, what does it look like for them? Same thing with your entry level blue collar workers is they need to kind of know some technology. They need to know how to operate machinery. They need to know how to use, smartphones and things of that nature. Like, what is the next level for those software developers?
Well, there's a few options. First one is they go become a welder. The second one is they level up their skills and they learn how to operate in this new environment. And the third one is they probably go vote for a socialist that will pay for everything for them and they can stay at home and do nothing.
Well, that is it, everyone. We'll wrap it right there. No, so I appreciate that, and just kind of interesting concept. I thought it was wild to hear you guys got so many applications, and then you hear people in the blue collar industry that are like, I didn't get anyone to apply. No one quality applied. So just
So,
interesting to
so
see
the
how
same thing
different
will
industries
happen.
work.
Yeah, the same thing will happen when robotics come along. So robotics will
Yeah.
come along, and all of a sudden the constraint of labor, we're like, this is not as much a big deal because like the labor part gets done. So like for blue collar, it's labor pushing a mower, for example. For software, it's like running code, running tests, and then tests. These things that used to be manual tasks now have become automated, and so. I do believe that down the road, when robotics comes along, they're the same. It'll be similar. It's like you put a job posting up, and everyone wants to work because they don't have any jobs. Also, we're also from an economy perspective, like we're in a weird spot where there's lots of labor in general, like even
Hmm.
higher command center, et cetera. So it's been easier in the past year. So yeah, it'll eventually happen with labor, and it's like no one wants to quote unquote go outside and be in the sun, the heat, well, etc. Like all those things. The same thing is true though when it comes to engineering. Like, do people really want to just pound out lines of code that someone else like AI can just pump out in 5 seconds? They don't want to do that work, and so the same thing is happening. It's just commoditization of labor, commoditization of entry level skills, and this is again why the rich will continue to get richer. So if you want to play the game of having a pity party, you will be a loser, or you level up your skills and you determine yourself that I'm going to do the hard work to get in the top 1%. I'll get richer. So it's like be in the game.
Yeah. I've had a personal mantra recently. I thought about posting it on LinkedIn with no context because I feel like LinkedIn posts like you have to write an essay and it has to be all touchy feely to get people to actually engage with it. So one thing that I was thought about just posting is just this simple phrase: is just be the hunter. Just get after it, like be the hunter. But without context, people are like, what's that mean? But I think it's self-explanatory. It's what you're saying. It's like play the game, be the hunter. Like you can either win or lose, and usually if you want to win, you got to be a hunter. So that's been a personal mantra I've had recently.
everyone's gonna be in the comment like, "Wow, Lee is fresh up of it." A little excursion to the Tate content
Oh
world.
gosh, no. Please, yeah,
Be a
he's actually my
hunter.
coach. That's why I don't say my coach's name. That's who it is. Uh, no, so all right, that is all I got. Any not financial advice for the
Go ahead,
people?
dude. Go ahead.
My non financial advice, we're going to get very simple with it. Buy a basketball. So I recently bought a basketball and I've just been going and shooting hoops by myself. It's the best thing ever. You burn more calories than running and it's way more entertaining. So just
Wait,
go out and
you
buy a
burn more
basketball.
calories than running? Where did you get that stat from?
Well, I mean, if you just look it up,
How
like I'm
fast
talking
are
if you're
you
like,
running?
yeah, like I'm talking like you play by yourself. So you're just running nonstop. Like you are running, but you're jumping, you're
Oh,
shooting, you're moving. Yeah. Like I'm
okay.
not just saying like, I just stand there and do this. Like I'm talking like you run around. Yeah,
I would love to just watch you outside your house and you're just like running back and forth doing hoops by yourself for
basically that's what I
workout.
do. Yeah, I just go to the
That's
park. It's
hilarious.
awesome, dude. It's
Oh, you go to the
great.
park?
I've
Let's
really
go.
been enjoying it. Yeah,
You gotta get
and
yourself a hoop, bro.
nah, dude, I like going to the park. That way I have a full court, so yeah, I can move around a bunch. That's the
Let's
point. It's
go.
like, yeah, don't just go and just stand and shoot. You got to like move. And I miss a lot, so
Um,
it's I have to go chase the ball.
let's go. Good stuff. I can't really think of anything super non-financial advice. I will say, I did get a new. Oh, it's in my bag. Here, 1 second. Give me a second. We'll show and tell. Okay, so this Friday, I have a vlog coming out. Okay, now my
Ah, yes.
non-financial advice is this little guy. Now this is extremely expensive. Well, extremely. It's less than $1,000, but it's great. It's great for vlogging. Um, and then you have a little clip. So this thing just pops right off. Boom. And you have a microphone, so good audio, along with your camera, and it's super easy to carry. This is going to be set you back $1,000 if you get the microphone, but it shoots in 4K. It's on a gimbal. It's super. You can walk through the public, and like no one thinks this is a camera. So highly recommend for the 1% of audience that is like making videos on YouTube.
what's it called for the people? So
Oh
that way
yeah,
I don't have to respond
yeah,
to the
yeah,
comments.
yeah. It's just DJI's Osmo Pocket
Oh, cool.
3.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that's the pod. Like and subscribe. Thanks for listening as always.